Hello, Madrid. Welcome back to another preview episode of the Let's Be Real podcast. We are back again after the international break, back to business in the league, uh, back to covering Real Madrid activities and all that. We're going to be, but then before that, I'm joined, today by the usual suspect, Kanish. How are you doing, man? How's the international break been? Did you catch some games or something like that?
Hey man, hey Farouk, how are you? Uh, to be honest, no, actually, I've had a bit of a busy time at work, and I think I've caught
Okay.
on with some other activities, but not a lot of football. But I did follow the World Cup qualification. Curacao, man, story of the World Cup for me so far. You know, I mean, 160,000 people in the country, and they're gonna play the World
Yeah,
Cup.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
fantastic, man. I think a couple of previews ago we were discussing Cap Verde qualifying for the World Cup, and now it's Curacao. I think the 48 team mechanism is gonna give rise to such stories. I think it was very heartwarming to see, and Ronaldo kind of being in the thick of the action during the international break, getting a red card, then Portugal just annihilating Armenia. I what 9-1 if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the highlights. It was just them scoring goals for fun, reaching the World Cup. I think Germany finding some much needed form. So I think overall a good World Cup. Not very good for us. We have some injuries that we need to talk about.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, it was indeed, quite a very eventful week, or rather,
Yeah,
let's say, I don't know, 10 days, because qualifying sports were being rounded up. As you rightly pointed out, you had like nations who, basically are the size of towns, 160K, basically, that's the size of a town. I mean, I'm just
I
assuming
mean
when,
that's
when,
the size
when
of
I,
a
when I look back
small
to
locality in India.
exactly, right. So like it's basically, it's the size of a small town. But yeah, that's the advantage you get, when you have an expanded World Cup and you give other teams the chance. It's not just about, I understand, like, for instance, the Italian coach Gattuso was talking about the fact that, other nations were getting, more sports, and, that means that some bigger names have to miss out. But I think it's not just about that, it's also about, what this means for that 160,000 people. Previously we talked about Cape Verde as well, what this means for those people, you understand? So I think it's a breath of fresh air to see what these guys bring up. Like, even if they're just there to make up the numbers,
Absolutely.
it's a big festival occasion. It's a cultural occasion, and what is not. So yeah, it's been really nice actually. Like, unfortunately for me, like, Nigeria weren't able to qualify for the playoffs. Yeah, we lost out to Congo in penalties. I actually caught that game, and then I caught also the Italian game against Norway, and yeah, like, Norway looks like, could
Yeah.
be a really good team and a really interesting team to follow at the World Cup. I look forward to what
I
they'll
mean, I
do.
mean,
And
look, man,
yeah,
they've had it in them. I think in the last 4 to 5 years, and it's not just Erling Haaland and Martin Odegaard. They've also got a very well-rounded team. I mean, you can never say that two
yeah,
players are taking a team to a World Cup. It's never like that.
yeah,
So,
absolutely. I mean, let's not forget, like,
um,
they have players like Solo, they have Nusa, they have, the Man City player as well, Oscar Bob. Yeah, they as you rightly pointed out, it's not just about just two players. Like, I feel like they're very light on defense, but otherwise I feel like they have quite a working team, I'd say. And as I said, like, it's a team that I
yeah,
would,
man,
be quite interested to watch at the World Cup.
they have Mr. Ayer, they have Ryerson. Ryerson I think played for Borussia Dortmund if I'm not wrong. So they have had players who have
Yeah,
played for top elite European clubs, and I think it's high time even countries like Norway start getting their due credit because they've been on the path of improvement for the past 5 to 10 years. So I think this is just a culmination of their hard work and effort.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so anyways, like, all that leads back, to the return to action in club football, and now we don't have an international break from now till March. So basically, that's a huge sigh
Yeah,
of relief, because I think we had one in September, one in October, one in November. So it's been, a couple of back to back to back to back. So At least now, you get just to focus on the club football and, get to because I think
Mm-hmm.
come the next international break, you'd have a very clear picture of what, teams look like, what, the season might look like for certain teams and what is, because it's in March. So I think it's a crunch time, it's a couple of, or rather, it's just going to be coming thick and fast, the run of a lot of games that are going to be very important. Like right now, we're just 3 points ahead. If things goes the way of Barcelona, by we play on Sunday, actually, they're going to be level on points with us if they win their game at the is it Spotify Camp Nou now or some new name? Yeah,
I don't know. Spotify is still their sponsor, right? So I think it's
it should
still
still be
it's
Spotify
still
Camp Nou.
it's definitely not the Estadio
Yeah.
Santiago Bernabeu anymore. It's just the Bernabeu. Now that Real Madrid have
Yeah,
changed the
it's
name,
just
that is
it,
something I'm sure about. But yeah, I mean, look, man,
yeah.
very simple. Just look at what happened before the international break as something that's in the past now. Uh, I think a lot of players have gotten enough rest when it comes to them actually not playing. Take the Camavinga and even Mbappe, for example. They came back after the first match, I think, which has also become a very recurring theme that players have started focusing a bit more. And with all due respect, countries which are pretty much playing the World Cup, their players have started taking, what do I say, like leaves of absence from their national camp for some reason. I'm not saying that they're not injured or anything, but it's just become very recurring. So that is one thing. Number two, Militao, man, that was such a shocking bad injury, so unnecessary. I was really expecting that Real Madrid does not face any adverse or any untoward situation after the international break. Well, we were lucky in the first two instances, not this time though. Militao is going to be injured, but I think the team is definitely going to be fresh. I think there has been enough time for people to sit and think what went wrong in the last couple of matches, the one that we lost and the one that we drew.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, you take it as something which is in the past. You started like another part of the season with a lot of freshness and a lot of energy. So, and Elche, in my opinion, is a good place to start, a good place to gain some confidence for the team. So that'll be really interesting to watch.
Yeah, as you said, like, now it's
Mm.
more or less a clean slate. If you can, the international break, you had a chance to research. You had the chance, the coaching staff had a chance, to like look back on, especially the last two games. Like they were both away games, and why we could not, capitalize, or why we could not win in both
Mm.
games. Like we were unable to score in both games. We were also unable to win uh, in both games as well. So like the coaching staff had the chance to do that, and even more importantly, as you highlighted, like it served as a reset for certain players. Like you look at a player like Trent Alexander-Arnold. It's a good reset for that. Like you look at even like Arda Güler wasn't featuring very heavily in the both games
Mm.
for Turkey.
Mm.
Mbappe was back. Jude also like was on the bench for one game, started the other game. So that gives you, the I think Carreras wasn't called up for Spain, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
He was
Gonzalo
left out.
Garcia scored though. I think, Sunet will be
Yeah,
very
yeah.
happy to see that.
He scored for the under 21s. Yeah, Gonzalo
Yeah.
Garcia did score for the under
Yeah.
21.
Yeah.
So I think it gives you those things. But then, as you mentioned as well, there's still like a few knocks for people like Fede Valverde, Thibaut Courtois, Kylian Mbappe, Camavinga, But yeah, as it's the word goes, small knocks, so you have the time to reset, to recalibrate and focus on the upcoming fixtures, and then yeah, like it's very unfortunate what happened with Milan, especially when he's been in such a good run of form. Let's just see how that pans out. Rudiger is still out, Carval is still out, so yeah, it's still not looking the best. Like we're still not having everyone up to date. But as you said, like like Elche, considering that Elche was a team that was in the second division last year, they finished second, and they've been actually doing quite well this season in the league. I think they're like mid-table, 11th on the table. So
Yeah.
like it's actually a
Yeah.
team that you expect to test you, but like not to test you too much as well. If that, with all due
Yeah,
respect to
man.
Elche as
I
well.
think
So it's kind
it's one
of,
of the teams Real Madrid has had a better record against. I think
yeah.
last 10 matches is 9 wins and a draw, if I'm not wrong. So I think they've not won against us in a very, very, very long time. So I think, with all due respect, but yeah, they've been playing well this season. One of the teams, who've come back after relegation. They're already in mid-table. They have like about 15 points, 3 wins, 6 draws, 3 losses. So I think overall they are kind of high flying in with all due respect to their standards. But
Yeah.
I don't see. I mean, it's going to be a big issue if Real Madrid face Elche and are not coming out victorious. You know, so it's just become one of those conversations where you don't really know which Real Madrid is going to show up. Is it going to be the Real Madrid we saw against Barcelona? Is it going to be the clinical, at least professional Real Madrid we saw in the first few matches of the season when we were unbeaten, or is it like the absolute debacle that we saw against Atletico Madrid? So this season, the club has shown us multiple facets of themselves, multiple sides of themselves, multiple versions of themselves. So I think consistency has been lacking, but as we both have very rightly pointed out, it is going to be like a fresh start to a season. So let's not go into the match with a lot of expectations. Let's just hope and pray that the team go out there and like give a professional performance.
And I think even another important point to add, to what you just said is also like, let's not highlighted that, Elche has three losses so far this season, and all three losses actually have come in the last 5 games. Like, even
Yeah.
actually they're winless in their last 5 games. So that shows that, they're not in the best of form right now, like maybe just, to league is catching up to them a bit. So yeah, I feel like this is, maybe a good time to actually kind of see what this team is made of, like how can they bounce back from, as you rightly pointed out, like two really disheartening performances, against Rayo wasn't the best of the games, and the game at Anfield was quite, disheartening, honestly, for lack of a better word there. Yeah, so I do think playing Elche could be quite interesting. But yeah, also Elche is a team that has one of those former players that we always talk
Victor
about. And
Chust.
now they have Victor Chust, and also they have up front Alvaro Rodriguez.
Yeah.
You remember
I mean,
Rodriguez? I think he scored against Atletico
yeah,
Madrid, the 1-1
Atletico
draw.
Madrid. Yes, yes, yes. The tall guy.
Yeah,
Tall guy from the
exactly. Yeah,
Castilla. Plus, they also have
exactly,
Rafa Mir
exactly.
on the left wing. Rafa Mir
Yeah, exactly.
is a player that you've been following.
Yes.
So,
And also,
yeah,
I think that's the thing. Like, I feel like when you look at, like, the what Elche possess, I think it's one of those physical attacks that could really create a problem for us. Because when you look at what we are looking at going into this game, there is no Rudiger. They most likely might not be Hoysen, and maybe also like So maybe then we have to line up and Asensio, as our two starting center backs. So having those
Asensio and
physically imposing Asensio and Alaba most likely would have to be the
Alaba.
starting center backs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like having those imposing and physical forwards, like Rodriguez and maybe Rafa Mir or something like that, could be quite interesting and quite challenging, for our backline. I mean, even when we have everyone fit, it's not been the best. It hasn't always been the best, like when we talk about, like, when you have physical opposition. So could be a bit of a challenge, could be quite an interesting challenge for our backline on for the team, actually.
No, look, definitely. I think every match from now on is a challenge. You have to look at every match as a match that is holding a lot of value when the title race is so closely contested between Barcelona and Real Madrid. So I think, and as you rightly mentioned, that till March there is no other international break, so it's going to be a string of, I think, 15-20 matches back to back that each club is going to play, including in the league, the Champions League, and whatever other competition there is. So I think if you start this kind of like a leg very well, going into the December fixtures, because November is almost over. So going into the December fixtures, going into the January fixtures as well. So I think it's going to be very back to back. There's going to be 2 matches per week now, as like, something that even I've been understanding. So whenever you have a tough calendar ahead of you, I think it's very important that you start well. It's very important that you start gaining form. Whatever has happened is in the past now. No point thinking about it. I think it's each stakeholder has got enough time to review what kind of team that they want to play now. And I think I want Xabi to also be a bit more sure-footed with his choices now, since we are, you know, pretty much going towards the halfway mark of the season. So I think, there should not be any room for trial and error now. I think you should just go out there with the mentality to just get the 3 points each and every match.
Yeah, actually, that's a very good shot. As you rightly pointed, now you're like now we have we have 3 games left in November, like 2 in the league, one in the Champions League, Olympiacos in the Champions League, and then after that, it's just the game come thick and fast back to back, and then you go through, you go to the Christmas break, the New Year break, and then you're back. It's the Copa del Rey, it's the Super Copa, you're back in the Champions League as well. I think we'll have two games more in the Champions League to complete, the 8 games that you play now in the new group stage phase. So yeah, it's going to be back to back, especially if we progress.
You play Man City on the 11th of December, so that's not very far away if you think about it.
Yeah, actually, yeah. There is all that actually, and actually for me personally, I'm less worried about the Champions League group stage thing. I'm more worried about like what happens in the league and also like with the cups and all, because I do feel like right now with the new form, that like okay, you could still have like 2 bad games, like as we saw last year as well. You could still have 2 bad games and you still be in contention. Like basically like so. I mean, Man City comes to the Bernabeu, so I feel like that's a bit of a that gives you a bit of a lead, and then like you have to play. I think Monaco and Olympiacos are the other 2 teams that we have to play in the Champions League, and I think if we win 2 out of 3, we're for sure in the top 8. So I think that makes it a bit easier. I mean, it gives it a bit of a caution. But I just feel like, okay, although the league is long, but I do feel like historically we've always lost the league around this time. Like when we lose the league, it's generally around this time.
Yeah.
We go into a terrible run of form between, January and February, and then all of a sudden you have a hill to climb and you're unable to, to reclaim those points that are lost. And that's why I just, started with highlighting the fact that we could start the game against Elche on Sunday being level on points with Barcelona. It wasn't long ago that we like literally 5 points between us and them. So I do think like, it's to your point as well, like this is the time now just to put the head down and grind, the time for like changing and chopping, testing and trying to build something I think should be in the past. We should right now just, look for ways to like maximize the potential of the players and just try to, move on. And yeah, I just hope, we will focus more on the footballing aspect rather than, things that happen on the sidelines or outside of the pitch. And because this is just the thing, like we've seen that even, last year we had a lot of like drama on the sidelines. Who was going to be the coach? Who's not going to be the coach? Is he going to continue? Is he not going to continue? And this season we've started with the whole issue of some players are not comfortable with what they're being asked of. The tactics from Xavi is not working. Like players are not, conveying or rather converting the idea, the philosophy into action. So those things I think needs to be ironed out and needs to be talked less about and more about, the activities that's happening on the pitch, more about, players taking the game by the scruff of the neck, players, come back and understanding that, okay, now we're in business once more.
Absolutely. I don't think I can add anything more to that. I think you've put that very nicely. Head down, blinders on, focus on the league, focus on the Champions League. Just get the 3 points where it matters the most. Play like a team. Forget about like the noise outside, and just like
exactly. So speaking of the team, wanting to see for a game at Elche, considering that we talked about also like the and what is not. What do you expect to see as a team lineup? I'm assuming that we're gonna have Thibaut in goal once again. We talked about David Alaba and Raul Asensio as a centre back parents.
In defense, yeah. I think Carreras on the left, Trent on the right. I think in midfield there is no Tchouaméni still, so I think you start Camavinga, you start Valverde, you start Jude Bellingham behind Kylian Mbappe up front. I mean, yeah, Vinicius on the left, and I think Arda Güler on the right.
Okay, let's talk about two players and let's talk about Trent and then we talk about Arda playing on the wing or how does he fit together with Jude. But yeah, like so, what's I feel like with Jude, with Trent, it's been a bit underwhelming so far, and I know of course it's not his fault; he's been injured all through. But like, what are you expecting to see from him? As we talk now, like there is no international break, right? So we fixtures and fixtures
Just
and
a
fixtures.
just a solid performance. I mean, I don't expect anything like crazy right now. I understand, he's not had like the smoothest of transfers to Real Madrid. I understand he's not had like the best start to life in the Spanish capital, but I mean, come on, give some credit to the man. I mean, he's a fantastic football player. Forget about tactics and forget about his defensive worries and everything. Just look at it from the surface. He's a fantastic professional. That is why Real Madrid were interested in signing him, and that's why they got him. Very
Yep.
unfortunate that he had an injury. I think still very unfortunate the way his home fans have treated him so far, like his previous home fans treated him on his return. I think it takes some time. It's good that he got a breather the past couple of weeks without much football. I think he will be back to full fitness. And come on, man, he's a fantastic right back. He's an asset to any team that he plays for. So I think let's be positive with him and let's wait and see. Let's give him that time to perform.
All right. Yeah, you're preaching patience. I do hope,
Yeah,
our fellow Real Madrid fans also will, see in the light that you're seeing. I love Trent, actually. I believe that he's a really good footballer, but I also feel like he's a footballer that actually needs a lot of accommodation as well. Like he needs players to cover his deficiencies for him to play, to his maximum, and he needs a team to cater to him. So I'm not too sure how that will evolve over time, but I do feel like with the presence of players like Vinicius and Kylian
yeah,
Mbappe, like we have, a player in Trent that absolutely can exploit the pace that those guys, could offer. But then, as you rightly said, it's not been the smoothest of transitions. And, he's a new guy. So first, let's start crawling before we walk and run and then jump, fly and all this stuff. So, yeah. But then on the other side of the coin is the whole, at least for me, it's a conundrum that I have with Arda Güler and Jude Bellingham. Because I remember also like previously you've always talked about playing Arda on the right when Jude returns. So, like, don't you think that takes away from what Arda has been offering so far this season when you play him towards the right rather than through centrally? Because I mean, I've gotten the idea that Xavi Alonso wants Arda, not not a floating eight, not a whatever, just a deep line playmaker.
look, I mean, if you didn't have the space, okay, for Arda Güler to play on the right or play wherever, my opinion, why have him in the team? Why did you kind of, promote him? Why did you not sell him? Okay, were you just waiting for that 8 to 10 weeks where uh, Jude Bellingham was injured? I'm sure not. So when you have talent like that, I mean, I've pretty much had it till here, hearing about, oh, this player cannot play there, this player cannot play. Make him learn how to play there. It's as simple as that. If you have talent, you get a squad of 20, 22 people, 24 people every year. If you have top talent, accommodate, make them play there. No one is like a born midfielder. No one is like a born number eight. Give him some time. He's playing well. He's been one of our best performers this season. I'm very sure with a few more games, even with Bellingham back in midfield, I do feel Arda Güler is a decent solution to our stopgap right winger problem. We do not still have a proper right winger who is like the first name of a team sheet. We understand that. Mastantuono has been good in bits and pieces. Arda Güler has been, I would say, 60-40 in that position. You know, but till the time that you don't have a full-blown right winger who can dominate that right wing like a Gareth Bale, you know, like who's like one of the first names on the team sheet, you have the
Mm.
best talent in the world. Utilize it. I think that is where your coaching is tested. It's not just tested in you making the tactics, it's also tested when you are asked to bring out the best from a certain player in not his maybe say natural position. So I think it's a test for Xabi Alonso. Can he make a good stopgap solution on the right wing with Arda Güler? If not, then you have your answer. Sell either one. If yes, then he can definitely be an asset in that position. I literally just see it like that.
I see. Well, actually, you brought up a point, but I just also feel like I understand that, like you're talking about, like these are professionals and they should be able to adapt, and what's it called, adapt and then recalibrate, depending on the positions and whatever. And also, like right now, like like positions, football is more almost positionless, honestly, like no matter how like rigid this, but still it's still like positionless more or less. But yeah, let's see. Honestly, I'm very, because I've said this at the beginning of the season and I keep reiterating it. I do feel like this season, I feel, and also I agree to your sentiment, like the whole promotion of Arda Güler and the way he has been playing since the Club World Cup has no indication that he's, like sharing a role with Jude. No, he's been, I don't know, he's been integrated in the team such that he plays alongside Jude, not in place of Jude, not as a replacement or whatever. So I do feel like the role that he's being given, I feel it's something that's very crucial and very pivotal to what's going to happen this season. And just, hopeful that, like when crunch moments come, he will be able to, stand up and deliver, when the comes is going to be, because I do feel like our season is going to be made of with how well, like Arda Güler can gel with him, how well he can be the creative source for this team or something of sort. But yeah, again, we just have to wish him the best. Let's see. Of course, he has a very good mentor in Xavi Alonso, one of the best midfielders to ever play the game. So, yeah, could be quite interesting to. Anyways, since we've talked about the lineups and all that, so maybe we go to the predictions. Do you have any scoreline on your mind?
Say 3-0 Real Madrid.
Okay. That's a very fair shout. And I will just go a bit below and be like a 2-1 Real Madrid. 2-0, 2-1 Real Madrid, something like this is what I see. A bit of a cagey affair, but like yeah, eventually, we find a way to break through at Elche.
Good.
All right. I guess that's a wrap from our side. And yeah, let's just do some housekeeping and shout out the sponsors of this episode, Talksport. We're officially part of the Talksport Fan Network. You can find a description to all that in the link below. Check us out and give us, show some love, subscribe to the channel, like, put some thumbs up, hit the notification button. And also shout out to our partners on Instagram, Real Madrid. Just give them a call, go like them, they have nice fun art that's written in the club and, on match days, off match days and all that. And I guess with that, we sign off by saying Hala Madrid.
Hala Madrid.